I have only worked with you once, but I can say that came across to the 100th degree. Just the responsibility, the seriousness with which you take your craft. A number of your colleagues have said that to me as well. In leading up to work, what's Mike like to work with?
What was the worst thing you heard on that question?
They said that you have an outsized ego, which I was like, no, they didn't say that. They actually said no ego. One of the things that's been interesting for me on the other side of a playing career is the way you measure a performance, because in basketball, it's very cut and dry. There's a result. You win, you lose. There's a box score. There's advanced stats. There's different ways to measure whether or not you had a good game. BasketballReference.com has a game score for every game that every player has ever played. For you, how do you measure or judge your own performance?
Wow, that's actually a great question. You're gonna have mistakes. I make mistakes every single game I've done. No such thing as a perfect broadcast. You want to make sure that you document what happened and why it happened. And you're not doing that alone. You obviously, your partner, especially in terms of basketball strategy, you got to make sure that they're part of it. I think to make sure that everybody on the broadcast is comfortable, to make sure you document it right and that you don't have any major screw-ups. I mean, this is a terrible answer to your question because I've never been asked that before. It's more of a feeling. Like when I walk away after a game, I'll know, okay, I was just okay. I'll know, you know what, I nailed that one tonight. Or on an occasion, boy, did I screw that up at the end. So it's more of a feeling in terms of you just know. And it's not just your own performance, it's everything. Are you in sync with the producer? Are you in sync with the replays? Did you do that graphic justice that the graphics coordinator was able to come up with? Did you get your partners in? It's all, again, it sounds silly, but it's, playing basketball is a team sport. Broadcasting basketball is a team sport. So you've got to make sure your teammates are happy, you're happy, and when that all comes together. And there's no better feeling when you finish and everybody feels like, wow, we kicked ass on that. We knocked that one out of the park.
Did you have a call in retrospect you wish you would handle differently?
Well, yeah, there was one last year in the playoffs. It was in the first round, and it was game one, and it was Nets and the Celtics, and it was a fantastic game. And it was one of those games, and I think we even said it at some point during the fourth quarter. I said to Tim Corrigan, who was producing, man, it's all clicking. The feeling was great. And then Jayson Tatum hits a shot at the end, and I butchered the call as badly as I've ever butchered a big call at the end of a game.
Smart fakes inside. Tatum spins, and he puts it in. Celtics go up by one. They wave it off. They're waving off whether or not to check to see if the game ended. The basket counts.
And I couldn't sleep like the next 2 days. Now, if that was 10 years ago, it probably would have been a 2-week grief period. But that was, and the reason I was so mad was because I screwed it up because the whole crew had just knocked it out of the park. And by 1 second at the very end, I blew the call.
I want to get into your origin story because I believe you are a superhero in your industry, and every superhero has an origin story.
Do I owe you money?
No, I'm serious. Mike, I'm serious.
Or do you owe me money?
You owe me a round.
Yeah.
You owe me a round of golf at Wingfoot.
Okay. Gotcha.
Actually, you gave me one of the greatest looks I've ever gotten last summer when you said, "Hey, we're taking a PJ to Oak Hill in Rochester." But you asked me 2 days before, and I'm like, Mike, I got two young kids. Like, I need at least 4 weeks notice.
It was an understandable rejection. Bothersome, but understandable.
Would have loved to have joined. How did you get into broadcasting? What was your start in it? The early interest and the sort of inclination, desire to begin a career doing this?
Grew up family. I'm one of 6 boys. My father was a huge sports fan, so sports was not an option. It was a requirement in the family. So played every sport, every day during the summer, wiffle ball, football, everything. Played in high school, was good enough to play in high school, but realized not going any further after that and was trying to decide what to do. So I had a friend who was doing college radio at the time, and he said, why don't you try doing college radio and get into sports? So that's why I went to Fordham.
We hope you had fun with us today. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button.